everybody. You know, I've had a lot of great questions on people that have problems with little vermins coming into their garden. You know, the rats do live here, you know, and the mice and squirrels and, well, of course, the birds too. And they've asked questions like, how do you protect your plants from them when they start coming in? Because they kind of come in waves. They're here and then they go do something else. Well, that's it. TULLE. TULLE has been the greatest thing for me. Yes, I have gotten depressed, or I should say angry, because I've come out and I have found the squash that was just decimated by a rabbit. I mean, just chewed the whole thing up. So here's a squash over here. Let me show you a zucchini. This is a zucchini. It's a hybrid though, so it looks like something else. They actually, see, let me see if I can move this over, started to chew it. And I wanted to leave it on longer because I want it really for the fall, a bigger squash. So I covered it in TULLE right away. And even though they ate a little hole, it continued to grow and they will not touch it with that TULLE. So that has worked perfect for me. Now let's swing here. This is here because they were chewing on, this is some dinosaur kale, and they started chewing on it. This was something, I don't know if it was birds or rats or rabbits, probably rabbits. So I threw that over. Those are cuttings that are off my big ones. They're going to come back beautiful this winter. But those are cuttings, and they were chewing them down like nothing. So I threw some TULLE over them. TULLE is so cheap and so good, and I'm telling you, it's really worth just trying. Nothing in life is perfect. You are going to find the occasional smart mouse or rat or squirrel that will move it. But in general, they don't want to move it. They don't even want to touch it. They touch this stuff. Now let's look at it. They touch it and they get their nails stuck in it. They have little tiny sharp nails. It doesn't matter what kind it is. It doesn't matter what rodents coming in, mice and rats and squirrels, ground squirrels, tree squirrels. They have sharp nails, and when they touch this, it gets stuck to them and it scares them. Once in a while I'll find it, you know, a few feet away because they got stuck and they ran. So when they touch it, even though they want what's underneath, you know, they're not that dumb. They're really smart. They don't want to get stuck to it, so they just go somewhere else. I've got TULLE everywhere. Look at this. Here's another one. See this? I would not have this right now because my garden is full of rabbits. So I just covered that over and it's growing. Once it's fertilized, you know, pollinated, I should say, by the bees, or if you're doing it hand pollinating, you can then cover it, you know, but you do have to make sure it's pollinated. And if you've got things like greens, well, then it doesn't matter. You can just throw it over your greens. Somebody said to me they were losing their melons. Melons are easy. You're just going to take your melon as it starts to grow, loosely wrap it with TULLE, and I've done it down here because the same thing, they'll go in there and eat it. There are Korean melons in here. I can't really get in there. I don't want to pull it apart. But see, there's a Korean melon wrap down there through the wire. If you've got a problem, and thank goodness the problem isn't all the time. It seems to happen and then doesn't happen. But if you've noticed they're taking bites out of things, even your tomatoes hanging, wrap it in TULLE. That's all you have to do. And the TULLE is cheap. I went to Joann's recently, and look at this real quick. There's zucchini growing, look. So all I do is drape it over the top. Now the bees can get underneath. I just draped it on the top and around the stem, because when the rodents come, they're going to come up the stem that way and they're not going to want to go up it. Let me tell you what else. Snails don't like it. I'm not sure why. My guess is they can't do that suction that they do to crawl up it, so they don't like it. Okay, I have no tomatoes wrapped right now because I pulled them all down, but I was wrapping tomatoes. But as I was saying, I digress. I went to Joann's and there is a tomato. And they had their TULLE. Some was on sale and some was not, but I did have a coupon, 50% off. So with my coupon, 50% off, it came out to be for me 75 cents a yard, and I bought 20 yards. All right. beige, which is fine. We've got a yellow, that's coarse, and a green, it's coarse. Is the white cheaper? Doesn't matter. Because some of these...
It's the same price.
Because some of those are marked $2.99. $2.99.
Wonder if it's because it's...
That's $1.99?
This one says $1.49 a yard. This one I think is a little more dense. I think this one. Yeah, this one's a little more dense than this one is. This one's like some more, not dense, but
okay.
A little harder, sturdier.
Okay, so this one is stiff. See the stiffness? This is what you need, people. You go to Joann's and you buy the tool and you get something really stiff. This is what you need. You can go any color you want, to your heart desires, but you need the stiff. Don't get something too soft and too bunny-like. You want those rats and those rabbits and those squirrels that go, yuck, I don't want to eat that. And that's what we're getting today. There you go. You get your coupons and you buy a ball. How much do you think is left on there?
I would say about 15.
15 more yards?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll stick with the 20.
Okay.
Well, do you think you have it at that price? That's what I'm wondering. The other ones were $1.99.
Mm-hmm. The $1.99 ones might have just been a little thicker than this. That's it.
Okay. All right. Then that's good.
Okay.
20 yards is good. It's a good start. Look at that. So for 20 bucks, I hopefully save hundreds of dollars of vegetables out of this. But we'll see. There you go. And that's what you need, tool. Now, if you cannot find the Joann's in your area or wherever you are, go online. It's there too. And they ship. Buy enough so it's free. They're 54 inches wide. So that's a lot of tool. And the thing also is, it's not a one-time use. When I pull that off that tomato, I am going to use it again. Just take a bucket or something and throw it in there. You don't even have to bring it back in the house. Throw it in a bucket off to the side. And when you need some tool for whether it's a small fruit or covering a greens, something growing that's greens, an eggplant or something, they don't really bother my eggplant. But in case they are bothering something of yours, you've got it. Just go to the bucket, grab it, and twist it on. Now you can just twist it on by hand and let it just stick naturally to itself or to the plant. You can wrap it that way. Or you can twist it around with a pipe cleaner. You can use masking tape. I use a lot of masking tape. If you see there, I used masking tape. Let me see if I can zoom in. Some people have told me masking tape doesn't last long. I don't know. I've been using masking tape. That masking tape here, probably 4 months old already. It lasts long, and when you're doing fruit, it doesn't matter because the fruit's not going to be on there that long anyways. Oh, look at the broccoli. Gary says if it wasn't for Tool, we would not have had chocolate sapotes this year. We've had dozens of chocolate sapotes. He keeps bringing them in. Before that, they would disappear, and we didn't get them. They were falling off. The animals were grabbing them off. The birds were grabbing them off. That's an amazing plant. That's another video for another time. That's a persimmon, and this is no joke. When you cut that in half when it's ripe and eat it, it's like you're eating chocolate pudding. We would not have gotten any. He was coming in and telling me, no, we're not going to have any, as I'm watching them and they are disappearing. So I said, take some Tool, wrap it around, you have nothing to lose. And so he said, sure. He was all for it. So he wrapped all the fruit, and he's been bringing in fruit after fruit after fruit. So we now have chocolate pudding sapotes we're eating, and it is so good. Yes, I get really upset when I come out here and find, especially my zucchini, when I'm trying to get it to grow really big. But the tool will work. So anyone that's telling me, oh, they're bothering your melons, that's easy. Just wrap it around your melons and forget about it. Don't wrap it super tight. I mean, even though it will stretch a little bit and it will give, you don't want to wrap it super tight. Just, wrap it loosely around, especially loosely, because you don't want an animal to come up, smell it right there, and just chew it through the netting. So kind of wrap it loose. And what you're trying to do is deter whatever is eating it, whether it's a bird, whether it's a rodent, because they're going to get a mouthful of tulle, which is a kind of a fabric. I think it might be polyester or nylon. I'm not 100% sure what it is, but you want to stop them from eating it. So if they can't reach the fruit, you don't have to go out of your way. It's not a big deal. It's just wrap it loose, give the fruit time to grow, and you'll see that whatever way you wrap it, it should work. Now here I've got it on my tomato plant, wrapped on the bottom to prevent anything climbing up. A lot of insects, like I was saying, won't go near it. Your slugs, your snails, they don't want to crawl over it. So if you've got something going on the top of your plant and you suspect it may not be worms or caterpillars, try wrapping some tulle around the base of the plant. That is really useful, just wrapping it around the base. I did it with another plant. I wasn't sure what was eating it. The top leaves were all disappearing. So I put some tulle, or just wrapped it around the trunk of the plant, similar to this. You wrap it around the base of the plant loosely, and you can put a little masking tape, a little wire, a little twisty, a little pipe cleaner, and it might change your whole world. Even here, I've got this pot on the bottom, it's a double-decker pot. I've got walking onions on the top, and I think I've got mint growing out of the bottom. I just wrapped tulle around the bottom of that, stuffed it in, and nothing wants to crawl up it. Let me swing over here. The other night, something came in and ate the top. I was very upset. So I wrapped my Korean melon, just took some tulle, and laid it on top. That's all you had to do. Because they don't want to touch that stuff. They come up and they touch it, and they don't like it. I've even wrapped my bell peppers, my baby bells and my bigger bell peppers with tulle when I think something's going to grab it. Tulle can be used for anything you want to lay over. I started a lot of my popolo with tulle sometimes in certain areas, because certain areas, the baby popolo seeds as they sprout got eaten. Covered it with tulle. You can even cover your compost bins if you wanted to, because the fruit flies and the little things you need in there would be able to go through that. Your worms will be able to find their way in, and you could just lay tulle on top, and it may help keep some of the birds and maybe some of your rodents that you don't want in there. It's worth a try. Tulle has worked for me on a lot of different things. Experiment with it. And when you come up with really good ideas, message me and tell me. I'd be more than happy to hear how you're using tulle to keep critters out of your garden, or whatever. Maybe you got other ideas for it. See, here's a basket I made. Take some wire, and you can wrap a piece of wire. You can wrap anything with tulle, and then if you were going to try to save something and get it to start, nothing will eat it, you've got something wrapped in tulle. So you can use tulle to make your own little tents for your seedlings and your new plants that are starting. Even Gary uses tulle in his garden, not just the sapotes, but in his regular garden down the hill where all his wood chips are. Look at this. Had he had tulle wrapped around his apple trees, he probably would have saved some of the 40 apples that the deer came through and ate. There were 40 apples on his trees down there, and he was so excited, and he had no idea that the deer were coming and eating his apples, and they wiped him out. So had he put tulle on the apples, he might have been able to save some. That's no guarantee, because I haven't really tried it for deer. I do not have deer in my garden. The only thing they ate one day is they came and ate the tops of my broccoli, which were not covered in tulle. I think if they tasted it, they probably would leave it because they wouldn't know what it is. But I still think it's worth a try, and if you've got some fruit trees and you can reach the fruit, most certainly worth a try to use some tulle on that. You can use tulle also if you're trying to collect seeds, because when the broccoli goes to seed, you can throw the tulle on top, and this way the birds won't get the seed. You want your plants to get pollinated by the bees. So once that broccoli head, let's say, opens up and turns into flowers, you want the flowers, you want the bees. But once the bees are done, that's when you can grab some tulle, drop it on top, take some masking tape, wrap it around, unless you want to use wire, twisty, pipe cleaner, whatever, yarn, whatever you want to use. You can even sew your own bags if you want to get real creative. I've done that too. And just drop it on top and the birds can't eat it, and then you collect the seeds. As I was saying, I went to Joann's, had the girl help me. It was really nice. They've got all colors. You want to get fancy in your garden, you can pick any color you want. They come in red and different reds and blues and white and greens and, yes, white and black. Now, if I did green, it would look nice, but then I wouldn't be able to see my tulle and what I'm trying to protect and save. I may forget about it. Gary prefers white, he told me. Stick with white. Green and black will kind of disappear in your garden. And if you want it to disappear, that's perfectly fine. You can pick any color. Color has no basis of whether something's going to come or not come. That's up to you. And if you want to decorate your whole garden, go ahead, buy a bunch of different colors and do that too. It's cheap. And if you don't have a Joann's and you don't have a fabric store, you do have to get it at a fabric store. If you don't have a Joann's, or if you don't have a fabric store, you can order it online. And you know, those coupons that they offer, just sign up, just give your email. You can use that online too. Times they have free shipping and they have different sales going on. So that is the main thing, is keep your eyes open on sales, keep your eyes open on coupons, or keep your eyes open at Joann's on even, you know, their big sales, because they put things really on sale really good. You don't even need a coupon. But they did give me permission in the store to go ahead and show you all this, and I was just so excited to get that much of it, so now I don't have to think about it. She re-rolled it up on a bolt for me so I can just keep it in the house. And with tulle, you can either cut pieces you want or make a snip if you're going to buy a whole bunch and tear. And you get a straight line, straight tear. Then you can wrap everything. Seedlings. A lot of times it's really good to start your seedlings by laying tulle on top. Because again, as soon as the sprouts come up, the new seeds, birds love sprouted seeds. And what they'll do is they'll go down there and eat it, as well as little tiny garden bugs, your normal garden bugs. They'll eat the newly sprouted seeds. If you lay tulle on top, they can't get to it. So that's another way I use it. There's a lot of ways I use tulle. But try it. I mean, you have really nothing to lose. Go invest $1 or $2. And see if it works for you. If you find it works, then go ahead and get more and keep it on hand, because that's when you want it. You want to have it on hand, because as soon as you see a problem, you want to be able to get to it right away. And when I saw that squash down there with bites in it, I could have picked it, but it was so small that I just wrapped it loosely in tulle. It's still growing, and I'll be picking it pretty soon. I just wanted to get it as big as possible. So I'll have the seeds from it. I'll have the fruit from it. I can make my zucchini bread or squash bread. I also make pancakes out of zucchini. Yes, I do. I make pancakes. I make bread. So I use less flour and more squash. I made pancakes yesterday. I should have made that this morning. That's what I was going to make this morning. And then you can pre-make it too, so you have it ready in the morning to just do it the way you want to do. Okay, that's another thing. Getting off topic. I do that a lot. Sorry. Today, I want to just talk about tulle. See, that one was too late. I forgot to put tulle down, and the rabbit came and chewed my pretty little Korean melon in half. Had I had tulle draped over this plant, I wouldn't have lost it. So I didn't know he was going to come find it, because he had left it alone. So the tulle is cheap enough. The wonderful thing about it is it's not a waste, because after you're done with it, Just grab it. You don't need to wash it or anything. Throw it in a bucket off to the side somewhere, and when you need it, you just go there. It doesn't matter how big or small it is. You could use a couple pieces if you had a bunch of small pieces. Wrap it around and get those critters out of your garden, away from your plants. They'll still travel through, of course. They're not going to leave completely. They're always here, but they'll leave your vegetables alone because they don't like the taste of it. I have saved a lot of tomatoes this year. They tend to go after the big tomatoes over the small tomatoes because the big tomatoes, of course, have to stay on the plant longer. So you're more apt to get that eaten before your small tomatoes. The small ones are fine. See, the little cherry tomatoes are all over the place. They don't seem to bother the cherry tomatoes because cherry tomatoes grow quick and then you get them off. But the big ones, they do tend to get to those when they're looking for them, your rodents, or even your birds. I've had birds eat tomatoes because it's on the plant longer and they watch them. So see all these green ones I've got going? There's a whole bunch. I'll be wrapping those very shortly in tulle. Technically, I should have wrapped them already, but I've got the big red one wrapped because I want that to ripen really good. So that's my suggestion for today, is try some tulle. You know, I know if you've got a big farm with acreage, it's going to be tougher to do. But if you've got a small backyard, or you're growing in containers, or a smaller farm, or precious fruit you really want to make sure is protected, go with the tulle. I don't even think your dogs would grab it if the dogs went through. Cats aren't going to grab it. They don't want to mess with it. Again, nothing's perfect. Something can happen. Something can say, "Ooh, I can make a hole in this." But in general, it seems to work really good for me, and that's why I've got Korean melons even on my deck that are wrapped in tulle. I have my zucchini that I think is going to be a problem with something wrapped in tulle. It's worth a try. And like I said, somebody asked me about melons. That's easy. Melons are easy. Just wrap them in tulle. Try some tulle. You'll come up with your own ideas, I'm sure, too, on what to do with it. So with that, have a wonderful day. Please like and subscribe. And thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. And I hope I've given some people ideas. And you guys have given me ideas, too. Thanks, everybody. So with that, have a great day. And don't forget to eat what you grow. Bye, everybody.